Welcome to Threshold Homestead, everyone. This is Sharon. I would just like to share a recipe that I've been working on, trying to get out to you guys. It is cracklin cornbread. I hope you enjoy it. God bless you all. Good morning, y'all. It is Easter morning, and I am going to attempt to redo this cracklin cornbread recipe for you guys. I may use some of the footage from the other video that I did, and I may not. It ends up, the last time, I thought I had the bowl in the video, and I did not. I had all the ingredients spread out, and you know, when you're working in a small kitchen, things get cramped. So I've got the bowl here. I'm going to get started by adding my Blackwells fresh ground cornmeal, and I know this is probably reversed for you. This is the self-rising cornmeal, and I will be adding some almond flour as well. And just so you know, I kind of get things going and add things as I see fit. I'll stick to the main ingredients, and I'll try to get as close as I can in the description as to what I used. But for this cornbread mix, I am going to double it. This calls for 1 cup Blackwells self-rising yellow cornmeal, 1 cup self-rising flour, and I'm going to substitute the almond flour, and I'll be adding some more baking soda and baking powder to that. 1 beaten egg. It calls for 2 tablespoons of sugar, but in my cracklin cornbread, I don't want it to be sweet. 1 cup of milk, which I will be using buttermilk, and 1/4 cup vegetable oil, and I am going to be using lard. I've already got a cup measured out here, and I'm going to stick this in the oven. It's already preheating, and I will let that melt in the oven just to get my pan hot, because I learned growing up the correct way to, before you pour your mix into your pan, the pan needs to be hot. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this in here, and I'm going to stick the pan. Now that may seem like a lot of lard to y'all, but I'm gonna use some of it to warm up my cracklins before I put them in my mix. Now that's going. We'll go ahead and get started with the other ingredients. Okay, as I said, this calls for 1 cup, and I'm going to do 2 cups of this mix. Just pour it in there. This cornmeal. 1. Come on. 2. As I shared in my other video, cracklin cornbread was definitely a treat when we were growing up, and we normally had it after, you know, we and the other family members got together and killed a hog to process for sausage and ham, all kinds of things. Cracklins are the remnants of what's left over when you render lard. When you render lard from the hog, it's all the fat that's close to the skin. You get all of that off, and you put it in a big pot over, we did it over an open fire, a big cast iron pot, and just stirred it and stirred it and stirred it, kept it stirring. So we all got to take a turn at stirring, and you know, had to be safe about it, of course. And once all of the lard had rendered, meaning it was the right color, of course everything had to be the right color, I'm putting some baking soda, and then I'm going to put some baking powder just to add with that almond flour, since it's not self-rising. And I am just eyeballing this. I guess that's 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 baking soda. And then I'm just going to use my whisk to whisk that around. Get all that incorporated so that when we're ready for the wet ingredients, we can get that in there. Now, so whenever we put the lard up, Mom would put it in a big container. I want to say the container was a big metal, old, I don't even know what was in it originally, but it had a lid on it. And she also had one for her flour, because back then you bought flour when there were 5 kids, 2 adults, and yeah, 5-pound bag of flour just wouldn't do it. So she would buy enough 10-pound bags to fill up that. I think it was a 5-gallon bucket, but it was metal. And in that bucket, she kept a bowl about this size. It was a ceramic bowl that was her bread bowl, and when she would make up bread, biscuits, she would put that back in there afterwards, and when she'd take it out, she'd sift whatever flour was left in the bowl and get all the little hard pieces out from the last time she baked bread. And let me tell you, she baked bread every day, and probably sometimes twice a day. Loaf of bread was a treat for sure, maybe once a week on Fridays when they would go to town, get a loaf of bread. Otherwise, we had biscuits or cornbread. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add the other ingredients, which I have some buttermilk here. Shake that buttermilk up real good. And of course, that recipe calls for 1 cup. And I'm going to add 2.5, because anytime you're adding buttermilk to a recipe, it's not the same consistency as regular milk. It's a little thicker, so it's going to take a little bit more in your recipe. So I'm going to start with 2.5 cups. Let's see, did I put 2 cups? Yes. Gotta be careful when you're talking and trying to get a recipe just right. Now I'm going to take these eggs and I'm going to crack them into this little cup that I had the buttermilk in. Make sure I get all my shells out. You know, if you drop a shell, you just take that take your eggshell, go in there and get it. That egg looks great. Now these are homegrown eggs from my mama's chickens. I am so blessed to be able to get access to those. She shares them with me. Sometimes I share some feed with her to help her feed her chickens. But her chickens are free-ranged, and they are just the best. Now, she has trained those chickens every night to go into their pen. She feeds them in the pen. Every night they go to roost in that pen. She closes the door to protect them from the wild animals, and believe me, there are some wild animals around where she lives. Cannot deny that. Now I'm just going to stir this up, kind of get those eggs beat up right there in the middle where that milk settled. And then I'm just going to start incorporating all of that other flour and cornmeal into the batter. Now the last time I made this, I just made entirely too much. I have enough plus some extra. And I do like to cook this in an iron cast skillet, the one that's in the oven right now. Okay, so this is pretty good consistency. Now, if you can see that, I don't know how well you can see that because the lighting's not so great here. And I am just getting started with doing these videos. I don't have a lot of equipment. I'm using my phone right now because my other camera is somewhere else. This was the quickest one. Now this is a brand of cracklins that I can find at my local IGA, and they're packaged by Hormel, and they're pork cracklins. It's the only place I've been able to find them lately. I don't know if it's the time of year or what it might be, but it is what it is. Okay, I'm gonna stick this in the sink. I'm sure y'all can hear my dog barking. I'm trying to let my inside dogs stay out this morning because they're calling for rain later on. I think this cornbread needs a little bit more milk. I'm going to add a little bit more. And sometimes with cornbread, you just kind of have to eyeball it, and you know, if you make it enough times, you know how you like it, and that's pretty much what I do. We grew up watching Mama cook. When we got big enough to help, she let us help. But I'm telling you, with 5 kids in the house, there were other chores to be done, and most of the time that's what we were doing when she was in the kitchen cooking, helping her get a lot of things on her list done, plus just taking care of the things that we were old enough to take care of ourselves. But when she was in the kitchen cooking, if we didn't have anything else to do, we would go in and talk with her, and what else? And just watch her cook. Now, my sister Kathy can pretty much make biscuits like my mama, because Kathy was the next in line to start making biscuits when my mom was working. And my sister can make some good biscuits. I can make biscuits, but they don't look like mama's. And I'm sure a lot of that is because I don't do them like she does them. I don't cook them enough, I guess. Okay, I gotta find Dave. Oh, goodness. I do not want to burn my hand. Okay. And take this grease out, and, always be careful when you're taking hot grease out of or dealing with hot grease at all, for that matter. And I am going to try to measure out about a cup, I think. Now, if you organize your kitchen, most people just like it the way they like it. Mine's still a work in progress. My old kitchen, I had everything, and I knew where everything was, but right now, I still have most of my stuff in storage. I don't know where anything is. So if you hear me rumbling around in all of my drawers here, that's why. You'd think, well, if she were a good cook, she should know where all her things are. Well, I don't. I'm getting there. I am getting there. Finally getting a lot of things done in this kitchen, just to, let's see if we can pour this in here without making a teetotal mess here. Oh, I made a mess. Go figure. Alright, now while I'm going to clean up my mess here, hopefully. Now there is one trick that I've learned, really, and it's just taken time to learn. I think cornbread cooks better if it sits, once you get all of those ingredients in the pan and it sits there. Don't touch the hot pan. And it just kind of comes, it thickens up, kind of rises a little bit. So while that is happening, I'm going to stick my cracklins in this frying pan. And the thing about cracklins is they're pretty much done. Because they've been rendered down. It's just fat rendered down. And the reason I'm putting them in this pan is not to cook them more, because like I said, they're pretty much cooked. They are cooked. They are not going to cook anymore. So I'm just heating them up, letting them come to a good temperature. Let's see. Yes. No, I need the left front. Okay, so we're going to get that going. Get those coated with that oil that I left in the skillet. You know what? I'm just going to pour this back in here, honestly. There we go. I think they'll heat up a little bit quicker. Put that oil in there and let that oil heat up a little bit more too. All right, my oven, it has been preheating to up to 350. So I think that is a good temperature. The last time I think I cooked this, it says on the recipe it cooks in 20-25 minutes, but it took mine, since mine was a double recipe, about 30. But I will set it on the 20 and then just check it. My oven has a light on, so I can just look in there and see how it's doing. And there you go, folks. This is pretty much it. Like I said, I'm going to let these, you can't see the cracklins over there. Let the cracklins come to room temperature. Not room temperature, a little bit to they're hot. Not too hot, but let that oil get hot. And then I'm going to put them in this bowl. I'm going to stir it up very quickly, and then I'm going to put it back into the iron skillet and let it cook. So there you go. Now, I was telling you about you know, the experience of family getting together and processing a hog for the winter. You know, there's nothing better than good homegrown vegetables, good homegrown meat that you put up yourself. And, you know, how wonderful that you can sit down to a meal and think about, you know, God is so good that He gave us everything that we need, really, if we will just put forth an effort. And I know times are tribulous right now. We don't know. Well, we don't ever know what tomorrow holds. But right now, we have even more uncertainty, I think. But for me, my faith is in God. He has always provided for me, and He will continue to provide for me, I know without a doubt. And I am ready to go to heaven. Jesus is my Lord, and I accepted Him when I was 12 years old, and it changed my life completely. I like to give the testimony that, yes, He saved my soul, but more than that, He saved my life. My life would have been incredibly different and down just probably a sordid path without Him, because as temptations have come along during my life, with His help, I have been able to overcome. Without Him, I would not have been. He gives me joy unimaginable, and for reasons, you know, if you knew my story, you would probably think, why can she still find so much joy? Well, I find it in Him. He puts that smile on my face every morning. He puts that smile in my voice every morning. So I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful for opportunities that He's put before me each and every moment of every day of my life. So just know that when I think back on all the times that when I was growing up, that I didn't even know how very blessed I was, you know, just thinking back on all those memories of watching the adults do what they had to do to prepare, to provide for all of us. So how rich is that? Rich, and you don't even know it, but we didn't. But now we have that to look back on, and oh, what a rich history. What a rich history. And making cracklin cornbread just brings back all of those memories. I think I have a love for it better than most of my siblings, but it's just something that I hold on to because it brings back such good memories. Nothing better than memories of family getting together. Not in my book. Not in my book. And I hope that when I get settled here in this new house, and you know, day to day as I get closer, my hope is that my kids and grandkids will be able to look back and say, you know, those memories are the best of times. And I hope that for all of you, for all of your families, that, you know, there's something in you that just overcomes all the bad memories. You know, little bits and pieces that you can find joy and hope for your future in. That's what it's about. That's what God gave us, a hope for our future. And I'm so thankful for that. So I took about, you hear that sound? That is a good sound, let me just tell you. I took maybe a cup of the oil and put it in with all those cracklins. I sifted those out. And here we are. Here we are with this beautiful cornbread. It is just amazing. I know you can't see that, but oh man, it's so good, and it just changes everything. You know, as soon as that hits, it starts cooking. Yummy. So I'm going to take it, get my pan here. I've got a mess. Any of y'all ever cook and not make a mess? Well, I believe if you're making a mess when you're cooking, you're doing something good. It has to be. Alright, so I'm going to take my pan here, and it's got a few cracklins left in it. And I'm going to take some more of that oil, put in my pan. I'm going to spread it all around. Open it on the side. And then,
sorry everyone, lost the audio for the rest of the video, but the only thing that was left to do was to turn the mixture out into the warm skillet, and then I leveled everything out on top. And after getting it all level, I placed it in the oven that was preheated to 350 degrees. I set the timer for about 20 minutes just to look at it, and it actually took it about 30-35 minutes to get completely done. And then I took it out and flipped it out onto a plate and let it cool. I want to thank you for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can make some cornbread soon for your family. God bless you all. Thanks again.